guys, street rods come in all different flavors, all different styles, all different makes, and different models, and all kinds of stuff. My good buddy Gene has built this car. Really, I put this car for Car of the Week is for more than one reason. This is not a professionally built car. This car here was built by a couple guys that had a lot of taste, a lot of style, and they had a lot of quality to the work they did. Back in 1947, you know, when they built this car, these cars here were just coming out of the Depression after the war. We needed automobiles. They had all different models and all different makes and styles, but Plymouth was affordable, an affordable car. This car here happens to be a Super Deluxe. They actually only had two models. They had a Super Deluxe and they had the Deluxe. This model here, and being a two-door, was a great car to restore and a good car to do. You can buy them right and do them right. When Gene went ahead and designed this car, he came up with a color on the car. I wish they can. We got to develop a camera someday that can actually get the depth and quality of the paint. This paint here is a beautiful, beautiful soft blue. There's no metallic in the paint at all. It's a good 50s color. It works absolutely great. When you see the flames in here, these are ghost flames. And these flames just kind of just glaze into. They're not gaudy, they're not ostentatious, which nothing's wrong with that, but I think for the style of this car, it was an excellent, excellent choice for the car. When you get onto these early model Plymouths, all of them had a hood ornament, and the hood ornament of the car was synonymous with the word Plymouth. Plymouth was then the ship, the Plymouth Rock, not the ship. Someone said the ship went over the side of the world, but this right here is actually, it's the ship, and like they have right here is the Plymouth ship. The name really did not come from actual Walter Chrysler. The name came from Fraser. Actually, it's Joseph Fraser from Kaiser Fraser. Actually, that's a whole nother story and a whole nother show. But back in 1932, Chrysler wanted to come up with a car that was a low-line, affordable, different model car. In 1932, they came out with actually what they called the Plymouth, and the Plymouth was named after Plymouth Rock. They thought people would be more understanding to the name, recognizable name, and people did remember it. Plymouth was a seller and a success the day it kicked off. It never did exceed Ford and Chevrolet, but I will tell you one thing, they were the third best-selling car in the United States all the way into the 1950s. They produced a lot of automobiles. They didn't have a lot of options, figuring engine options. The motor in this car here originally came with a 6-cylinder, 217 cubic inch. 6-cylinder with 217 cubic inch. I mean, the thing is 95 horsepower, and these things ran extremely dependable. One thing when Chrysler came out with these cars, one of the most interesting pieces they had was they had what they call motor mounts. They actually called them a power mount. And the power mount was a rubberized motor mount. It kept the vibration out of the car. Chevrolet and Ford and other automakers, they picked up on it immediately and went ahead and did the changes on it. But when you get a car like this car's lowered a little bit here, has some really fantastic, these are like a Haldebrand type reproduction wheel with the knockoff wheels, and kind of a really neat taste. I like a lot of flavors it's done. And Gene went ahead and applied, Chrysler Star emblem in the center of it. We got some dice here dice here on the valve steps. You got to do that. If you're a street rod guy, you got to do it. It's part of what's being done all the time. The stainless on the car looks extremely good condition. I love the emblems. It keeps it a little bit more retro. Some guys fill the holes and go a different avenue, but that's kind of what street rods are all about. It's really not about the real thing. It's about safety. Taste and style is two different opinions. And I think this opinion here was done pretty good. But what the kind of neat is they kept these lights right here. The whole days are kind of a pretty big deal. For seeing addresses, spotlights. Most of the time they're using the drive-in movie, or if you saw a couple good-looking tomatoes walking down the street, you shine a light and you're waving at them. But I don't know, maybe they should get a whole different name for these things here. It has a side mirror on the car. Stainless is all the way down on it. But again, the color in the car really is spectacular. It's a good choice of color. It's not outgoing at all. And the lines, being a coupe, I mean, this is really, really cool. I like this. Actually, businessman's coupe because there's really no back seat in this car. So they went ahead and did it like this here. All the moldings on it's good. This right here, I like the welting in between the fenders. It really shows a lot of quality. A lot of guys we've had on the show before. We did a show not too long ago. The guy had a red car. He had a Hemi motor with a 2.4s, and I think Estelle was shooting the car. She went around it, and you actually could see that this car here was molded. All these are molded in. I like the original effect that they went ahead and did on this car. And, of course, we got all these goofy stuff car guys do. It's kind of part of what the program's all about. That's what car guys do. And as we go back down the side of the car, matching Haldebrand's new tires on the gas cap. I don't know, little clever things. This right here was an emblem that was actually put on the car, on the front grille of a car back in the 30s. And he went ahead and found one of these emblems, put in the gas cap. It gives it that little bit of an extra touch, an extra flavor, what I kind of like quite a bit. Chrome bumpers. Oh, the back of the car. This car here is 1947 all the way. This is what things were all about. 46 and 47 was the first year they changed the grille a little bit. They put rectangular lights underneath the front of the headlights. So they made really quite a few changes to the car. And on the inside, he went ahead and went kind of a velour style interior on it, which I think was really good flavor all the way around. It's kind of a light medium gray on the inside of the car. And on the windows, or right around the windows here, a lot of guys chrome plate them, and I think it's really a pretty good idea. In the earlier years, some of those kind of had like a wood grainish finish they used to do on top of the it was a wood grainish feature. They were some were in kind of a brownish, or some were in kind of in a grayish. But they went ahead and did the kind of a wood grain trim all the way alongside. But a lot of guys take these and chrome plate them. Door panels, custom made and custom done. They kept the original stainless strips inside here, but went ahead and did this right here in the two-tone velour. They have a kind of a light silver and have a dark silver. And on the steering wheel in the car, I mean, he just kept it originally retro. Now, what I really liked about this car, I drove the thing around quite a bit, that this car does not have power brakes. I thought the brakes were power brakes, but the way they're built and the way they're designed, not all street rods have to have power brakes. Not all of them do have power brakes. This right here has a good dual servo system on it and has a proportioning valve, which is a safety feature. And safety is where it's all about there, guys. And, of course, if we lose brake fluid to the rear, you're going to have brakes in the front. This car has disc brakes in the front of the car. Portioning valve is needed when you do that anyway. But that's a really good safety item, guys. I think it's a way to go. The engine that Gene showed for this car here is a 318 Chrysler engine with a 727 automatic. Good choice, good combination. And what he decided to do was, you know, it's always not about arriving. Sometimes it's about driving. Gene covered both things. It's about arriving and driving. He put a 2-barrel carburetor on this car. Being a 2-barrel, good gas mileage, fun to drive, has the great sound, and still looks really, really good under the hood. You know, the engine compartment can make and break a car. What I like about the engine compartment of this car here, it's very sterile, very clean. But if you guys notice the air cleaner you're looking at, that is actually custom made by a guy here in town. Actually, they took the aluminum air cleaner cover and took it and had a guy literally etch that in a special machine, just like a jeweler would do. And if you notice, the Plymouth ship's in the middle, Chrysler Motor Product, and Plymouth, the word on top. Now, this is a personal touch, an added touch that the owner does to the car. And guys, that's what the street rod stuff's all about. When you do personalize it, you do what works for you. And that's what kind of impressed me about the car, the quality level of everything underneath here. Underneath the hood, he's got a radiator. It just looks like the original style radiator. Cap looked like it was moved over, but he has the huge electric fan that operates the radiator on the front of the car. And when these things here, we'll just pull them right on in. You got an Oogle horn underneath there. Gene, you got it all. Good job there, partner. You know, to a lot of street rodders, the NSRA safety inspection is a pretty big deal. And you bring a car to one of these shows and have that car inspected, guys, that really means a lot to the car. They check the brakes. They check the steering. You know, they don't allow rust buckets into shows. And most guys would never do a car at this quality level with being a rust bucket. But generally, still, it's nice to say that he has had this thing done exactly twice, but full safety inspection by the NSRA. Has everything on it we kind of need. But it kept the dash and stuff all original, and the headliner, and that wood grain effect that we're talking about is on the dash itself. When you see the dash, you're going to see all that wood grain featuring. It actually was painted. They actually did that at the factory, and how they lacquered it in there. It's a lot of work, and today to have a guy do that is really, really a lot of craftsmanship. So I chose this car of the week because I liked it and I love driving it, and it's a great car. Gene, you did a good job. Now, you had a couple of your buddies helping you, and it really took him about 2 years to pull this project here off. And doing a Chrysler like that, and the history behind Chrysler is absolutely fascinating, how they became what they are today, and Plymouth is still out there and still doing stuff. Guys, check this car here out. That's why it's chose Car of the Week.